Imagine getting accidentally teleported to a fantasy world, defeating the literal god of that realm, stealing his power, and finding 3 wives along the way, including the kingdom's princess. And at the end, sitting on your dragon pet, flying off to find wife number 4, well, that's exactly what happened to this guy. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like and subscribe because the next one would be even better. The story begins with our protagonist, Yu, a simple otaku young man whose life consists of nothing but work and watching anime. One day, while traveling on an ordinary business trip, he arrives at the airport and prepares to board the plane. Suddenly, a temporal anomaly occurs and a gate opens between our world and another one. Of course, Yu feels nothing unusual. He walks normally and unknowingly passes through the gate, only to find himself in a very strange place, seeing things far beyond his imagination. Monsters roam around, people walk through the streets using magic, and dragons fly across the sky. Yu tells himself that all of this must be part of the trip, so he starts filming everything he sees, believing it is nothing more than advanced holograms and not real at all. However, a monster suddenly licks him, and at that moment, he realizes that everything is real and that he has truly been transported to another world. Yes, a young man is sent to another world right from the beginning, and it seems the story is heading toward chaos. Yu stands there completely shocked until an old man approaches him and says that his appearance looks strange for this area and that he seems to be from a neighboring country. He tells Yu that he must undergo a power measuring test. The old man then takes him to a magic academy. At that moment, Yu fully understands the truth and realizes that he is indeed in another world. He decides to enter the academy to see what is going on. When the students see him, they are surprised by his clothes, and the supervisor tells him that his power must be measured using a giant crystal. Yu touches the crystal, and suddenly a white light fills the entire place. He tells himself that he must be destined to become the hero of this world. Unfortunately, things do not go as he hopes. The students burst out laughing and the supervisor informs him that he has failed the test. Yu is confused and asks her why. She explains that the magic stone reveals both the amount and the type of power some people possess: wind magic, others fire earthwood, and so on. The crystal lights up according to the type of magic. White light, however, means there is no magical energy at all. In short, Yu has 0 magic. Hearing this, Yu falls into deep despair, made even worse by the students mocking him. He leaves the place filled with sadness and sits under a tree to rest for a while. Suddenly, the old man appears again, comforts him, and tells him that this is not the end of life. He then offers Yu an idea to work as a farmer and help him on his farm. Yu thinks for a moment and decides that this is better than nothing, so he accepts the offer. Yu goes with him to his house to rest, still burdened with sadness. The old man tells him that he will reveal a secret. He explains that when he was young, he traveled the world in search of ultimate power until he encountered the fairies. Yu is surprised and asks him to explain. The old man tells him that fairies are the strongest beings in this world because ordinary humans draw their magic from fairies. Just imagine how powerful the fairies themselves must be, he continues, saying that he searched for any clue that could lead him to them until he found this spherical object, which might be a secret weapon capable of making him the strongest in the world. Yu listens carefully, hope returning to his eyes. The old man brings out a box, takes out the spherical object, and gives it to Yu, who is overjoyed. The old man explains that the only way to activate this weapon is to break the seal placed upon it. He says that he has tried to break the seal for 20 years without success and asks Yu to try his luck. The next day, Yu tries everything he can to break the seal, but fails again and again. He tells himself that there is no point anymore. Then a dangerous idea crosses his mind, dripping his blood onto the object. He tries it, but nothing happens. Yu then goes to the forest to take a walk, deciding that he will live the rest of his life as a farmer. Unexpectedly, he hears a strange sound. When he approaches to see what is happening, he finds 2 boys and a girl sitting together. Suddenly, the girl approaches. One of the boys bites him and drains his blood, killing him instantly. At the same time, her hands transform into something terrifying and she takes to the air. The other boy witnesses this and attacks her with earth magic, but she easily deflects it, grabs him, and drains his blood as well. In moments, the scene turns into a true massacre. Yu witnesses everything and runs away as fast as he can. After a while, he grows exhausted and stops to rest, but he senses something behind him. He turns around to find the girl standing there, terrified. He starts running again, but she stops him using nature magic, restrains him, and attacks him, leaving him with a severe injury. If you think he died, don't worry, he didn't. Suddenly, without any warning, an enormous magical aura surrounds him. At that moment, a powerful looking girl appears and says to Yu, "I am the fairy that was sealed inside the spherical object you were carrying." Yu faints from the shock. Meanwhile, the fairy launches a devastating attack on the vampire, who realizes how dangerous the fairy is and flees the scene immediately. At the same moment, Yu regains consciousness. Suddenly, the fairy feels intense hatred toward him and attacks him as well. However, every time she injures him, she is injured too, which greatly angers and frustrates her. Then, a woman appears out of nowhere and introduces herself to Yu as the headmistress of the Magic Academy. She gives him a book and tells him that he is the chosen one. Yu opens the book and finds a sealing spell inside it. He activates it, sealing the fairy within the book. After that, Yu sits with the headmistress and asks about the book's story. She tells him that the book belongs to the academy and that he cannot keep it. It is an ancient book containing information about fairies. Yu begs her to let him keep the book because the knowledge inside it is extremely important. She agrees to give him the book on one condition, that he joins the academy. Naturally, Yu accepts. She tells him that he will start attending the academy the next day. Yu leaves and heads home to rest. Suddenly, the book begins to move and merges into his phone. Yes, exactly as you heard. At that moment, an assistant appears on his phone and tells Yu that from now on, it will help him with everything related to the book and the fairies. The next day, Yu goes to the academy, but this time the students do not want to let him in. One of them decides to humiliate him by throwing a power measuring crystal at his feet and telling him to pick it up. The moment Yu touches it, magical energy floods the area. The crystal glows green and then explodes. The students are utterly shocked because green represents the highest level of magical energy. Yu decides not to cause trouble, goes to his classroom, and continues his school day normally until the training session begins. Everyone starts training, and Yu is exhausted because he's not used to long distance running. At that moment, a student who harbors hatred toward Yu suggests to the instructor that Yu fight in front of the students so they can learn new techniques. The instructor agrees and tells both sides to prepare. At that moment, the princess of the kingdom arrives to watch the duel, accompanied by her assistant Lao. As soon as the fight begins, the student activates his magic and attacks Yu with a powerful blow. Fortunately, Yu blocks the attack. Thanks to the power of the book now inside his phone, his opponent grows furious and attacks with a violent wind tornado. But the attack has no effect on Yu. Yu counters with a powerful strike using plant magic and wins the duel. Afterward, Yu collapses from exhaustion. When he wakes up, he finds himself in a strange place. He walks around and notices a girl who looks extremely exhausted. Feeling sorry for her, he brings her water and applies cold compresses. Suddenly, two men appear and try to take the girl to sell her. Yu tries to stop them, but they push him aside and take the girl. Yu does not give up. He chases them and manages to rescue the girl, but the two men beat him severely. Yu closes his eyes, and when he opens them again, he finds himself lying on a hospital bed. The nurse tells him that his condition has improved. He asks her what happened, and she explains that he entered the fairies' memories. She tells him something he did not know before. Fairies were originally human, but because of their tragic lives, they turned into legends in people's eyes and eventually became fairies. Yu is deeply affected and tells himself that everything he saw was part of Fi's memories, and that she lived a very tragic childhood. However, his thoughts are interrupted when the vampire appears along with her companion, and it is revealed that both of them are vampires. They enter a patient's room, drain his blood, and kill him, and they are about to slaughter the remaining people as well until Lao arrives at that very moment. They bow to him and address him with the title of king, hinting that there is a major secret behind his identity. Lao takes them with him and leaves the place. As for Yu, he returns to his room and falls asleep, far away from all those events. But our protagonist does not enjoy peace for long. Suddenly, a girl enters his room and moves in a strange way. Yu strikes her with a powerful blow, knocking her unconscious. When he sees her face, he's shocked to discover that she is the princess of the kingdom. Yu is overwhelmed with fear, knowing that a single decision from her could send him straight to the gallows. He considers making her sleep as if nothing happened, but when she wakes up, she attacks him, believing that he kidnapped her. Yu tries to calm her down and explains that he did not kidnap her, but rather found her entering his room in a strange manner. At that moment, he realizes why she came. In the first place, she was drawn by the smell of the pasta he had cooked. He immediately prepares another dish for her. She is captivated by its delicious aroma, and the moment she tastes it, she loves it. Suddenly, they hear a strange noise and quickly hide. Their suspicions prove correct, as the two vampires arrive and begin destroying the place in search of humans. Yu emerges from his hiding place and attacks them with plant binding magic, immobilizing them. He then escapes with the princess and tells her to hide in the forest. The two vampires catch up to him and attack. Yu summons the fairy Fi, and as soon as she appears, she strikes them with powerful blows and unleashes fire magic. The entire area bursts into flames and both vampires are burned. When they try to escape, Fi stops them. At that moment, Lao arrives. The vampires cry out to him for help, but he eliminates them instantly. Yu realizes that Lao's power is immense, almost on par with Fi's. He becomes worried about her and tells her to run away, but she orders him not to interfere. In the blink of an eye, she launches violent attacks on Lao and a fierce battle erupts. Blows are exchanged from all sides and Fee begins to suffer severe exhaustion. Yu desperately searches for a way to help her. The system informs him that the only solution is to merge with Fee. But for that to happen, Fee must first stop hating him because for some reason she utterly despises him. Yu wonders how that can be achieved. The system explains that there are two possible solutions. The first is a long-term solution to respect her and treat her well over time. The second is to enter her memories and discover what is constantly causing her resentment toward him. Yu chooses the second option. But another obstacle appears. To execute this plan, he needs magical energy that allows him to enter Fee's memories, and he has completely exhausted his energy during the fight with the vampires. At that moment, the princess appears and tells Yu that she knows he needs magical energy and that she can provide it. Yu immediately agrees. On the other side, Fee is weakening badly and is on the verge of defeat. When Lao notices the princess's presence, he is struck with shock and rushes at full speed to attack Yu. At the last moment, Fee shields Yu and takes the blow in his place, suffering a severe injury. By then, Yu has received the magical energy from the princess and immediately enters Fee's memories. The first scene he sees is Fee in a devastated area, fighting a group of people. She strikes them relentlessly until they are all dead, leaving only one survivor. That man begins begging for his life. Fee spares him and walks away, but he betrays her, attacking her from behind. She had anticipated this, quickly counterattacks, and kills him as well. After that, she goes to a shop and takes money from the owner, revealing that she works as a mercenary, completing any mission in exchange for payment. She takes her reward and leaves. On her way home, she notices a sword that greatly appeals to her and asks about its price. The seller tells her it is not for sale, so she leaves and continues on her way. Yu watches everything unfold in shock, especially because that young man resembles him greatly. He decides to ignore it for now and waits to see how events will develop. The next day, Fee wakes up to find the young man beneath her home, playing music for orphan children. Suddenly, two men appear, causing all the children to flee except for one girl. The men begin beating her, but the young man steps in, shielding her with his body and taking the blows in her place. At that moment, Fee arrives and confronts the two men. As soon as they see her, they flee immediately, as she is known throughout the area as the undefeated killer. The merchant gives Fee the sword as a small gift for saving him. She takes the sword and leaves. Yu grows furious as he watches everything. He tells himself that this young man is not as kind as he appears, but is actually a manipulative and evil person who is playing with Fee and treating her like a toy. He believes everything was planned. The powerful sword, the music for the children, and saving the girl. The system's assistant hears his thoughts and tells him not to let his imagination run wild because what he's suggesting is impossible. Meanwhile, the princess's energy is running out and Fee is suffering greatly in her battle against Lao, who relentlessly unleashes fast and powerful attacks. He nearly delivers a fatal blow to Yu, but at the last moment, Fee takes the hit instead, sustaining a grave injury. Even so, she does not surrender. She activates a magical technique that causes thorns to burst from her body, wrapping around Lao and immobilizing him. The shocking truth, however, is that this technique drains Fee's own blood, meaning she has only minutes left before losing her life. In another turn of the story, Yu watches Fee with that young man, constantly telling himself that the boy is not normal. Suddenly, after Fee leaves, the young man stops, looks directly at Yu and tells him that he can see him. Yu is utterly stunned. The young man, named Kato, explains that their souls are similar, which is why he can see Yu. Yu freezes in shock, while Kato ignores him afterward and continues his life with Fee as if nothing happened. Days pass, and Kato grows closer to Fee with each passing day. One time, while they are sitting together, he tells her about a peaceful and beautiful place free of killing and problems, where they could live together away from everything. However, he explains that reaching that place requires money first. Fee is overjoyed by this idea and decides to save money. Days pass as she completes missions, gathers money, and spends time with Kato, ignoring everyone who warns her about him. Finally, the long-awaited day arrives, and Fee manages to gather the money for the journey. She rushes to tell Kato, who laughs and tells her to wait for him the next day at the top of the tower, where they will meet and plan their future. Fee is extremely happy and waits for him the next day. Time passes, but he does not come. One night passes, then another, then a third. Fi remains there for 3 full days while Kato never appears. Yu watches Fee's condition, grows extremely angry, and tries to speak to her, but she cannot hear him. Yu cries, unable to bear seeing her like this, and it becomes clear that he has fallen in love with her. At that moment, the leader of the gang Fee works with arrives, clearly terrified. He tells her that the rival gang has discovered their location and that they are right below them. Suddenly, in the middle of his words, the place explodes. Fee tells herself that Kato must have fallen into their hands and that they are torturing him, so she rushes out immediately to save him, cutting down everyone who stands in her way. She keeps running until she finally sees the soldiers ahead along with the little girl we saw earlier. She attacks at lightning speed and wipes them out within seconds. Then she turns to the girl and reassures her not to be afraid because she is safe now. Fee is here with her. But suddenly, with no warning at all, the girl pulls out a knife and stabs Fee, then laughs. At that moment, Kato appears and says, "What do you think of this surprise?" Fee had trusted him and placed her life in his hands only for him to betray her in such a filthy way. Even after everything she sees, Fee still believes Kato will save her. But when she sees the little girl hugging Kato, she understands the full truth. The gang member sees her, and the boss tells Kato that he will take Fee for free. Kato explodes with rage. He summons fairies that completely destroy the place, revealing that he can summon them just like you, who has been watching everything from afar. Fee cannot endure the scene. She lunges at Kato immediately, but at the last moment, another fairy appears and blocks her strike. Fee attacks that fairy with a rapid chain of powerful blows, yet the fairy deflects every single one with ease. Fee keeps fighting until her sword breaks and she suffers a critical injury. Yu panics for her, but he has no way to help her at that moment. Then, Kato suddenly pulls out the same spherical object we saw at the beginning of the story and activates it. Countless ropes burst out and bind Fee tightly. Yu's anger. He demands to know why Kato is doing all of this. Kato replies that his soul resembles Yu's, and his dreams are the same dreams, yet the two of them differ in how they choose to achieve those dreams. Yu snaps back that it is impossible for him to be like Kato. Kato tells him this is the bitter truth he must accept, and then he leaves. Yu looks at Fee and decides to save her. He climbs the ropes, trying to reach her. He gets close, but suddenly his hand slips, and he falls. At that exact moment, a sword appears beneath him. He crashes onto it, and the blade pierces straight through the center of his body. Horrifying. On the other side of the story, Fee is drowning in her thoughts. She becomes able to see everything that happened to her, but this time, she sees Yu warning her. She sees him in every moment he worried about her, every time he tried to stop her and keep her from falling. That is when Fee understands everything. When she opens her eyes, she finds Yu in front of her. She moves until she manages to free herself, then ends that illusionary world, and the two of them are transported to a different place. Fee tries to wake Yu and pleads, "Please don't leave me. I'm the one at fault for everything that happened. Yes, you resemble Kato, but you are not him. You're different. You're my hero. Please stay alive. I can't live without you. You're the only one who truly worries about me and loves me." Those brief moments, tears flood Fee's eyes and hope begins to fade from her heart. But then, unexpectedly, she feels Yu grabbing her leg. She looks down and realizes he's still alive. Yu tells her he heard everything she said. Fee is overwhelmed with embarrassment, but Yu tells her they must leave this world immediately because the princess's energy is about to run out. And so, they head together toward the gate and exit. The moment they return to the real world, the princess collapses unconscious and Yu lays her down. In a flash, Yu merges with Fee. The fusion completes, Yu's entire form changes, and he reaches the peak of his power. Lao attempts to attack him, but it is useless. Yu lands a direct heavy blow, follows it with an earth-based attack, but Lao blocks it, and the two clash in a brutal exchange, strike after strike. Lao barely manages to evade until Yu hits him with a blow that launches him into the sky. Yu rises after him and delivers another strike that slams him back down to the ground. Lao roars with furious rage. After that scream, his strength and speed surge, and he rushes at Yu. Their attacks collide, but Yu's strike wins, literally smashing Lao's head apart. The impact is so immense that it causes an earthquake the Academy students can feel. Yu separates from Fee, and when he looks around, Lao is nowhere to be found. He has vanished. At that moment, the Academy's headmistress arrives and tells Yu that she saw everything. As a reward, she decides to grant him 2 fairy summoning cards, identical to Fee. Yu is overjoyed, thanks the headmistress, and leaves. But after they are gone, the headmistress smiles an eerie smile full of malice and deception, as if she is planning something to come. And let me tell you, what's coming is far worse than what has already happened. The next day, Yu heads to the academy, but he is extremely exhausted from the previous day's battles. During that time, the teacher announces that 2 new female students have joined the academy, Fee and the princess, whose name is revealed to be Cora. The 2 girls introduce themselves and then sit beside Yu. All the students seethe with jealousy. Fee is unbelievably beautiful, and every one of them wish she would sit next to him. They wonder how she ignored them all and chose to sit beside that insignificant nobody. Their anger grows even more when they see Fee and Cora speaking with Yu in perfect harmony and even joking with him. Yu ignores all of it and heads to the library, searching for a book that can help him break the seals on the magic spheres the headmistress gave him. Someone might ask, why doesn't he break the seals with blood like before? The answer is that each magic sphere has its own unique method for unsealing. In the library, Yu meets a female student and tells her he needs scrolls explaining how to break seals. She gives him 2 scrolls. He takes them and heads to the lake. When he arrives, he reads the scrolls and learns that he must place the first sphere into the sea and leave the second on the ground, and that they will grow over time. He does exactly as instructed and waits for the result. Elsewhere, Lao appears still alive. He goes to his superior and reports everything that happened. The superior is furious and says, "How can you possibly be defeated by a weak boy like that?" Lao replies that a fairy was protecting Yu and granting him power. The superior orders him to bring that fairy and commands him to kill Yu and deliver the fairy to him. Lao agrees and leaves. We return to Yu, still waiting for the seals to break. Suddenly, the entire area lights up and one seal breaks. At the same time, a light appears in the forest as the second seal breaks as well. In the blink of an eye, both seals open together and two fairies appear revealed to be sisters. Yu is thrilled because he has successfully added two powerful members to his team. He decides that in the coming period, he will search for as many fairies as possible to grow even stronger. The next day, Yu meets the headmistress again. She tells him the chances of Lao attacking him are high, so he must take the princess and leave in search of a safe place. Yu agrees and departs with Korra and the rest of his team. Along the road, an enraged dragon appeared. It is furious because it sees Yu, whom it considers weak, walking alongside fairies with legendary power. It is revealed that this dragon belongs to a noble dragon clan. Yu does not back down. He activates a binding spell, immobilizing the dragon, and eventually the dragon surrenders, but Yu refuses to release it without receiving a special reward. The dragon agrees. Once Yu removes the restraints, the dragon gives him a flute and says, "This is a summoning flute. If you ever face trouble, call me with it." Then the dragon flies away. After that, Yu and the team rest to recover. But suddenly, while they are sitting, the white fairy, whose name is revealed to be Shuang, feels something extremely strange. She steps away alone and sits at a distance. Yu follows, trying to talk to her and understand what she is feeling, but she is intensely angry at him for no clear reason. She attacks him, shouting that he is the cause, yet the blow strikes her instead. Yu stands there confused, understanding nothing. At that moment, those people arrive, and their goal is to take all the fairies. Yu immediately summons his team and also summons the dragon. But the greatest shock comes when the dragon stands with the criminals and refuses to help Yu. The fairies clash violently with the criminals, while Yu attacks the dragon, trying to restrain it the way he did before. This time, the attempt fails, and Yu falls into the sea. Suddenly, a gigantic magic circle appears behind him. Yu is stunned, and then a powerful storm forms within the water. Fi sees what is happening, abandons the fight, and dives into the sea at full speed to search for Yu. Meanwhile, the criminals do not stop. In the blink of an eye, they strike the blue fairy with a powerful blow. Her name is revealed to be Rocca. Shuang, her sister, erupts in furious rage and unleashes an overwhelming magical energy that floods the entire area. Fi senses that energy and rushes out of the water, realizing that Shuang in this state could destroy everything. Back to Yu, sinking in the sea. Suddenly, an idea hits him. He should enter Shuang's memories. He does, and in a single instant, he finds himself in a completely different place. But the problem isn't that. The real problem is that he sees Kato in front of him. Yes, the events are starting to overlap. And if this sounds complicated, let me simplify it. The fairies with Yu were originally human, but they lived tragic stories that turned them into legends and then into fairies. And the one who created those tragedies was none other than Kato himself. Kato was an evil man who lived in the past. All he ever sought was to find suitable girls, make them suffer, then turn them into fairies so he could control them and gain infinite power. Back to the flow of events, the moment Yu sees Kato. Kato can see Yu as well, but he completely ignores him. He walks a bit and finds a small dragon revealed to be the same giant dragon Yu faced earlier, having entered the memory world by accident. Kato orders the dragon to find information about a girl named Shuang. The dragon refuses at first, but Kato threatens it, and it submits. Later, the dragon returns with information. Shuang suffers from a rare illness that prevents her from walking for long periods, so she has been searching for a cure, and her older sister Rocca has been helping her. Hearing this, Kato smiles a cruel, evil smile and says his plan will begin now. Yu tries to stop him, but he cannot. Kato then approaches Shuang, speaks with her briefly, and asks what she plans to do. She tells him she's going to a cave in the forest to collect medicinal herbs. Kato tells her the cave is dangerous and insists on accompanying her to protect her. Shuang feels embarrassed, but she agrees. The two head to the cave. When they arrive, they encounter a giant monster, and the medicinal herbs are hanging from its tail. Shuang steps forward to take them, but Kato stops her and tells her there are other plants farther away from the monster, and that would be safer. Shuang agrees and heads toward them. At that moment, the dragon arrives at the place. Because of the mistreatment it suffered at Kato's hands, it awakens a giant monster. The instant the monster wakes up, it attacks Shuang. Yu sees the scene and rushes toward her, trying to help. At the same time, Kato uses teleportation and pushes Shuang out of danger. Yu then finds himself face to face with the monster, which strikes him with a brutal blow and slams him into the ground. Kato and Shuang flee the area, but to their surprise, the monster chases after them. Shuang is overwhelmed with fear, almost paralyzed by it, but she tries to appear brave and grips a staff to face the monster. If you look closely, you can see her hands trembling. She attacks, but her blow has no effect and the monster nearly kills her. At the last moment, Kato saves her and pulls her away. Shuang loses consciousness after exhausting all her strength. She is sick to begin with. Kato leaps to the other side. The monster attacks him, but he blocks the blow with a single finger, then jumps into the air and delivers a finishing strike that kills the monster within seconds. Kato notices scratch marks on the monster's body wounds left by the dragon. He calls out to the dragon and strikes it with a powerful blow that sends it flying down a cliff. After a while, Shuang wakes up and finds that Kato has defeated the monster and secured the herbs. Kato thanks him, then returns home with her sister Roka and takes the medicine. The next day, Shuang sits in the garden and begins to cry. The herbs had no effect and her condition is still poor. Kato comes to comfort her and tells her that he has a solution to cure her, which he will reveal in the near future. Shuang agrees, leaves, and the day ends there. The following day, Kato meets Shuang again, speaks to her gently, and confesses that he loves her. Shuang feels extremely embarrassed and does not know how to respond. So Kato invites her on a sea trip. She agrees. They set off together and board a ship. There, Kato tells her that the only way to cure her is through blood, because her problem lies in her blood and that she needs a very large amount of it. He adds that the only person capable of providing that amount is her sister, Roka. However, there are two problems. First, the required amount of blood is enormous. Second, the results are not guaranteed. Even if it is done, she might not be cured. In other words, Kato tells her that she must kill her sister to obtain her blood. And even then, there is no certainty of recovery. Shuang is completely stunned. She says nothing and returns home. Her mind remains consumed by what she heard, constantly thinking about what she should do. We return to the real world where we see Lao standing over the princess about to kill her, but he starts crying. He struggles to suppress his emotions, then strikes her with a powerful blow. Fortunately, the princess has activated a protective barrier, so the attack has no effect. At that moment, the princess wakes up, sees Lao, hugs him tightly, and begs him not to leave her again. She says she was terrified and cannot live without him, because to her he is like an older brother. Lao is deeply affected by her words and cannot bring himself to harm her. Elsewhere, Fi is fighting the criminals fiercely, but their numbers are overwhelming. They restrain Roka and Shuang, and the situation worsens. Then Princess Korra arrives with Lao and asks him to save Fi and the other fairies, but unexpectedly, he attacks them instead of helping. The criminals say to him, "Have you still not killed the princess yet?" Korra hears this and is utterly shocked. We move to Yu, who is watching everything while hiding in the forest. Shuang is there as well. At that moment, she sees Roka hugging Kato and telling him that she loves him. Shuang tells herself that her sister has betrayed her. Things grow even worse when she hears Roka say that she is tired of taking care of Shuang, that she has her own life to live, and that her sister's illness has no cure. Kato hugs Roka and reassures her. Shuang sees all of this, collapses mentally, coughs up blood, and her condition deteriorates further. You can do nothing but watch. Shuang returns home and Roka follows. They sit together and Roka tells her that a man named Kato has confessed his love to her. Shuang replies that he must be a good person and that he will surely make her happy, hiding her own sorrow completely. Roka starts preparing food. Suddenly, without any warning, Shuang pulls out a knife and moves toward her sister. She hesitates, tears streaming down her face, but Roka senses it and says, "Kill me and heal yourself." Shuang plunges the knife into her sister's body. Roka takes her final breaths, but she smiles and asks Shuang to take her to the place of sacrifice. Shuang carries her toward the lake, blood flowing, tears pouring from the younger sister's eyes. In her final moments, Roka apologizes and tells Shuang not to forget to take care of herself. She promises her that Kato will look after her, then she dies. Yu witnesses everything. Crying, Kato appears and tells Shuang the truth. Her sister never loved her, nor did he love her. Everything she did was to make Shuang hate her, then kill her, so she could cure herself. Shuang is completely shattered, becoming like a body without a soul. She takes her sister and heads to the river to complete the sacrifice. At that moment, Kato proposes another solution, reviving her sister as she was. He tells her he can do that by turning her into a fairy. Shuang remembers her sister, likes the idea, and agrees. Kato carries out his plan. Yu tries to stop him and attacks, but Kato far surpasses him in power. Yu begs him, saying that he destroyed their lives, that they are humans with their own lives, and asked for another chance to fix everything. Kato laughs and tells him he is weak, and even if given a chance, he would be unable to do anything. Yu asks for just one chance, insisting that he will defy all expectations. The idea amuses Kato, so he decides to try it. In a single moment, he turns back time and says to Yu, "Show us what you will do now." Yu opens his eyes to find events restarting once more. This time, he tries to change the course of events by improving the relationship between Roka and Shuang, continuing day after day. Eventually, Shuang hosts a group dinner and invites Yu. Roka attends as well. The three sit together and eat. Suddenly, Roka collapses unconscious and Yu does too, leaving only Shuang standing, screaming as if she had deliberately caught them off guard. After a while, Yu wakes up to find neither Roka nor Shuang. When he searches for them, he realizes that the same events from before are repeating. He tells Kato that he understands everything now and challenges him to send him back one last time, promising it will truly be the final attempt. Kato thinks for a moment, then agrees and rewinds time again. This time, Yu lets events unfold exactly as they did the first time, without changing anything until the decisive moment when Shuang moves to ambush and kill Roka. Yu intervenes, snatches a knife from her hand, and tells her to stop this madness. He tells her that her sister is afraid for her and does not want to harm her. Roka says that she was prepared to die so her sister could be cured and return to normal. Shuang is shocked by her words. The two sisters embrace and cry bitterly. Yu is overjoyed, but Kato cuts his joy short with mockery, telling him that none of this was real memories, but rather an illusionary world he created to toy with him. Yu collapses in tears, believing all his efforts were in vain. At that moment, Shuang appears in her fairy form and tells him that she now understands he had been trying to save her all along. She adds that the past cannot be changed, but the future can be created and that someone needs him now. Shuang unleashes immense magic that destroys Kato in an instant, then opens a gate that returns Yu to the real world. As he is returning, the dragon appears and asks Yu to take it with him, because it cannot live in the illusionary world. Yu agrees. Moments later, they return to the real world. Yu mounts the dragon and swiftly carries the princess away from the battlefield. He then merges with Shuang, causing his form to change and his power to increase at an astonishing level. Yu launches a massive water attack at Lao, freezing him in place, then uses water magic to eliminate the warriors who were surrounding Roka and Fi. Suddenly, Yu hears the princess scream. He sees that one of the warriors has restrained her on top of the dragon. Yu lunges forward and delivers crushing blows that completely defeat the attacker. At that moment, Lao breaks free from the ice and activates an overwhelming magical spell. Yu does not retreat instead. He merges with Fi as well. His appearance changes completely and his power reaches its absolute peak. Yu increases the gravity in the area with his magical aura, freezing Lao in place. Even so, Lao resists and counterattacks. The two clash in a ferocious battle, their attacks colliding with unprecedented speed and force, shaking the sea itself. The battle drags on, with both sides exchanging merciless blows, until Yu unleashes a strike charged with immense magical energy, blasting Lao away. He then opens dozens of magic gates, from which water arrows rain down, but Lao blocks them all and activates a multiple clone technique to attack Yu with his copies. Yu responds by taking full control of the water, annihilating the clones with devastating torrents, then turns back to the real Lao and delivers the final blow with everything he has. At the last moment, however, the princess intervenes and begs Yu not to kill him, insisting that killing Lao would turn Yu into someone else, someone unlike the Yu she knows. Yu separates from Fai and Shuang and apologizes to the princess. She embraces Lao and scolds him, but Lao bids her farewell and walks away, saying that they will meet again someday. After that, Yu returns all the fairies to the book inside his phone, preparing for a new journey. In the end, Yu sets off with the princess on the dragon's back, heading toward a new adventure filled with danger, and thus, the story of our anime comes to an end. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like and subscribe because the next one would be even better. I am sure you will like it.